All right, let's just jump right in with a question. And it might sound a little wild at first, but just hear me out. With all our smarts, all our progress, are we actually living lives that are less free than, say, a common house cat? This explainer is all about digging into that idea, looking at the invisible system we've built for ourselves. And this, right here, just lays out the whole paradox perfectly. Look at a cat's life. It's all driven by simple, real things. I'm hungry, I eat. I'm tired, I sleep. I'm scared, I run. But then you look at our lives, we're run by things that don't even exist in the real world. Credit scores, career paths, social status, debt. We've basically traded simple truths for really complex anxieties. And that's the real kicker. An animal is controlled by the laws of nature, gravity, biology, the seasons. But us, we're controlled by stories. Stories we made up that we all collectively agree to believe in. And somehow, these ideas have become way more powerful than our own basic instincts. So that brings us to our first section here. We gotta understand what these stories are and how they actually formed the bars of these invisible cages we're all living in. It's a weird story, really, about how we, the creators, somehow became the captives of our own creation. See, these cages are built out of what you could call abstract concepts. And it's a pretty wild thought when you really stop and think about it. The things we base our entire lives on, money, laws, corporate power, the idea of success, none of them are physically real. You can't hold success in your hand. You can't trip over the economy on the sidewalk. They only exist because millions of us agree to pretend they do. And you know, these systems didn't start off as some evil plan. They were actually brilliant solutions to real problems. Money was way easier than trading chickens for a haircut. Companies helped us build amazing things together. Governments were meant to create some kind of order and safety. They were supposed to be our tools. But here's the twist. These tools, these systems, they got so big, so complex, that they started to have a life of their own. The economy has to grow. The company has to hit its quarterly targets. And suddenly, we aren't the masters of our tools anymore. We've become the cogs in the machine, serving the needs of the system instead of the other way around. So, okay, that's the big picture. But how does this giant, abstract system actually control you and me, our individual lives? Well, it does it by creating this preset path, a life on rails, that most of us get pushed onto almost from the day we're born. And I bet this path looks pretty familiar. It kicks off with school, which, let's be honest, is as much about teaching us to follow rules and bells as it is about anything else. Then it's off to university to become a specialized part for the machine. Then you get the job, the big trade, your time, your life force for money. And just to make sure you don't get any funny ideas about leaving, along comes debt. A mortgage, student loans, it's the anchor that holds you in place. And then, at the very end, you get retirement. You get your freedom, but only after the system has taken all your best, most energetic years. This quote from Uncle Who, man, it just cuts right to the bone, doesn't it? The modern tool of control isn't some heavy iron chain. Nope, it's the watch on your wrist, the clock you punch, the deadlines you race against, that constant ticking reminding you that your time isn't really yours. And all this leads us to the fundamental deal we make in our modern lives. We're told we're working for freedom, right? But what's the actual price we're paying for what might just be an illusion? And this is where the irony just smacks you in the face. An animal with $0 in the bank has the one thing we all crave, time. It has total freedom from debt. It doesn't even know what debt is. Meanwhile, we have all this money, but what's the number one thing we complain about? I have no time. We have a million choices of what to buy at the store, but for so many of us, there's no real choice but to just keep showing up to work. So we really have to stop and ask ourselves, is this deal? Is trading the best 40 or 50 years of your life, your health, your energy, for a little bit of freedom at the end, is that really freedom? Or is it just the best deal the system wants to offer us? Okay, I know that all sounds pretty heavy, but what if there's another way? This last section here, it's not about being hopeless. It's about seeing that there is a choice. It's about recognizing the game and then deciding if you want to keep playing or start building your own. The way out, really, it all boils down to this one powerful idea. If you don't build your own system, you will, by default, live in a system someone else built. Period. The choice is about shifting your mindset from being a consumer, an employee, to becoming a creator. Now, this comparison is kind of intense, but it reveals something so profound about our world. Think about how fast you could build a destructive network, like one for selling drugs. It's got clear roles, simple incentives, and it spreads like wildfire. But now, think about building a constructive network, a network of learners and creators and builders, maybe an open source project or a creative community. That is slow. It's really, really hard. And that tells you a whole lot about what our current world is designed to reward. But here's the opportunity. The reason we can even talk about building a new way is because the world is in the middle of a massive shift. We're moving away from an economy that's purely about trading hours for dollars and into a world where value comes from digital assets, things you create online, code you write, platforms you build. That's the new frontier. Which brings us to this final thought. The future isn't this thing that just kind of happens to us. It's being built right now, piece by piece. And the people who are going to decide what it looks like are the ones who wake up and realize what's happening first. So really, as we wrap this up, the question isn't about what the system is going to do next. The real question is about what you are going to do. Are you going to keep living by the old stories, walking down that path that was laid out for you? Or are you going to be one of the ones who wakes up? The choice, really, is yours.